Okay, so now we're in the book of Genesis. We're in chapter 15. We're in the story of Abram. This is where God, and this show you how important all this stuff is. Here is where God is telling Abram for the first time to do sacrifices. To do sacrifices. Take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And Abram took all of these and divided them in the midst, and laid them piece one against the other. But the birds he did not divide. And when the fowls came down to try to eat the carcasses, Abram drove them away. Again, then of course there's a deep sleep. When Abram fell into the deep sleep of darkness, and great darkness came to him, and the Lord revealed to him, telling him that surely thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. This was a prophecy that he's letting him know that these people of Israel are going to be taken into a situation, and they're going to be there for 400 and some odd years, and it's going to be horrible. It's going to be hard, but in the end, I'm going to get them out of there, and they're going to come out with great plenty. Now, I wanted to point out something here. He's telling him to take these sacrifices. Okay, the last time we saw sacrifices was with Cain and Abel. Cain took his sacrifice unto the Lord, what he had left over, and he wasn't respected. Abel brought his best fruits, and he was respected. And Cain killed Abel. And the Lord used this very model of these two to now make all these sacrifices unto him, the Lord our God. We're going to see with Moses. I don't mean I'm saying I could say some of these things because you'll understand. It's just better to understand where all this is coming from. So I'm going to say it. There's going to be sacrifices that God's going to tell Moses to do. That's going to be the next time we're going to see these things because of these offerings and different things unto the Lord. Okay? And he's using the same model from Cain and Abel. Cain killing his brother Abel. Not Cain killing his brother, but they were the first to bring their offerings unto the Lord. And the Lord respected Abel's more. So now here he is again doing this. And this is all for a reason. That reason we can go back into with God doing it with Moses and them for the children of Israel. Okay, but here we get a chance to see Abram now. The Lord's telling Abram to start these sacrifices. Start it off for these people. Okay. All right. And they will come, and these people in that great darkness, your people, they're going to be held for 400 some odd years. And also that nation who they shall serve I will judge that nation, the Egyptians. And afterwards they shall come out with great substance. But that's way far off. This long ways to go yet. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come here again, for the iniquity. For in the fourth generation, that's us today, the fourth generation, they shall come here again to that land, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. That's talking about Gentiles who's going to take over our God's business, try to take over our God's business. And until they're finished doing what they're doing, that's going to bring this world to an end. That's what he's talking about right there. Okay? But in the fourth generations, they shall come here again. And for the iniquity of the Amorites, the Gentile Amorites, is not yet full. Okay, but I'll even say, remember that scripture I was talking about with the Amorites? Or is not yet full? Remember this when I say that again. And it came to pass when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt to the river of the great river Euphrates, the Canaanites and the Kenites and the Kadmonites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Rephaims and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Girgashites and the Jebusites. These are all the different people. And God said to Abraham, I'm going to give all their land to you for an inheritance. And all pertaining to this Ham's curse. Chapter 16. Now Sarah, Abram's wife, bare him no children. And she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abraham, Behold now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go into my maid, and it may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abraham to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and they conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon me. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee. But Abraham said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleases thee. And when Sarai dwelt harshly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of the Lord found her, Hagar, by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way of Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, where you come from and where are you going? And Hagar said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress and submit thyself unto her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that thou shalt not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, that thou art with child, and thou shalt bear a son, and thou shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction, and he shall be a wild man. His hand will be against many, and many's hand will be against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And she called on the name of the Lord that spoke unto her, Thou God seest me. For she said, I have also here looked after him that seeth me. Wherefore the well was called Bir Laharoi. Behold, it was between Kadesh and Bered. Remember those names. Kadesh and Bered. Remember those. And Hagar bare Abraham a son, and Abram called his name which Hagar bare Ishmael. And Abraham was 86 years. That's 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram. Okay. Chapter 17 of Genesis. And when Abram was 99 years old, and the Lord appeared to Abraham and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Ooh, my Father. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee. Can you imagine God saying this to you? Okay. And I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him. As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee. And thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful. I will make nations of thee. And remember all of these blessings. Remember, these are the blessings of Abraham. Please remember them because they're going to play a major part in a lot of stuff later on. I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee, and their generations, and for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee. And I want to put in here real quickly, this was a promise that God's telling Abraham. I promise you that this is what's going to happen. These are the things that are going to happen. Remember that word, a promise. This is a promise. Remember that. This is my covenant, which you shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and you shall circumcise your flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations, from now on in your generations. He that is born in your house, or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of the, let me get that right. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money, in other words, a slave or whatever, of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. In other words, anybody, even those people, if you bring people in your house to be with you or in your family, work with you, whatever, all of y'all have to be circumcised. He that is born in thy house and he that is bought with money must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man child whose flesh and his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people, and he hath broken my covenant. And the Lord said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. And I will bless her, and I will give thee here's the big promise. I will give thee a son of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Okay? Then Abraham, I got to now stop saying Abram and say Abraham, fell upon his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live forever before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son, indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, not Ishmael. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. This is so important. I'll tell you why in a minute. And as for Ishmael, I've heard thee. Behold, I will bless him, and I will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah will bear unto thee this set time next year. And after he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that it was born in his house, and they all were brought, and all that were brought with money, every male and every man and everybody in Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in that self-same day, as God has said unto him. And Abraham was 99 years old, when he circumcised his flesh and foreskin. And Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in his flesh of his foreskin. Remember, Ishmael was 13 years old. Remember that. He'll be 13 years older when Isaac finally comes. And all the men of this house, born in the house, and brought with money and of the stranger were circumcised with him. Okay? Woo! Okay, so I'm gonna drop you off right here, and we're going to be coming back to the next part of this story in 1 minute. All right.